Welcome to this video from Girlguiding Gloucestershire, one of a series of videos to help you navigate through the accounts package from Girlguiding. In this video, we're going to look at the expenditure page, which we've got open in front of us. You'll see at the top of the page, just like with the income page, that it's got the totals of your cash and bank balances. These get updated on both pages when you enter any income or expenditure onto either pages. The page works in a very similar way to the income page, except obviously taking money out of your accounts rather than putting it in. You need to set up some categories along the top. So here we've got rents, we've got badges, we've got trading resources, and we've got crafts and resources. The first 8 lines here are greyed out in exactly the same way as they were on the income page, because they link to these events tabs along the bottom. So we can't enter anything in these lines here. We're going to start therefore on line 20. And like with our income, we're going to put a line for each payment that we make. So let's start with the date of the payment, 1st of April 2024. And then in the payee reference, that's who you're making the payment to. So that might be some kind of supplier, like for example, your hall rent might go directly to the village hall that you meet in, or it might be a volunteer who you're paying expenses to. So let's write some expenses in here for Taylor Swift, one of our volunteers. So that's who the money's actually going to. In the details tab, you can then put whatever works for you insofar as the information there, but I would tend to put the type of receipt it is and where they've been shopping. So for example, Tesco ×2 and Sainsbury's. In the payment reference, again, you can use whatever kind of coding works for you. The way I've always done this is a different code for our bank transfers and our cash and our checks. So if it was cash, which this payment is going to be, I just literally start numbering them from number 1. So the first one is going to be number 1, and the second cash payment will be number 2, and so on. We've then got to choose whether it's going to go in the cash payments column or the bank and checks payment column. So this one's cash, so we're going under the cash payment, and the total that we spent here is £10.98. And as I put this figure in here, you'll see the total come down at the top here. And then like we did on the income, we've got to choose which categories we're going to put it under. Ignore the CC column for the moment. I'll explain that in a second. So £10.98, this is going under our crafts and resources for our unit meetings. So £10.98 going in there. Let's put another line in, this time on the 2nd of April. And this time we're paying the hall rent. This is going to go straight to the village hall. So that's who we are putting in our payee reference. In the details, you might want to put the time period that it relates to. For example, it might be the spring term, or you might want to put the invoice number in. Let's do that here, invoice 98. This time we're going to pay it by check. So it's going to be going out of the bank. So in order to make it obvious that it's a check to anybody checking our accounts, I'm going to put CHQ in here, and then I'm going to put the check number, 087. I'm then going to put the amount under the bank and check payments. So we're paying £50 in rent here. So that's come off of our bank total at the top. And I also then need to put it under a category column. So I'm going to put that under the rent column. Another example, the 3rd of April. This time we're going to pay our local trading depot. Again, we've got an invoice number 3. And this time it's going out by bank transfer. So I'm going to say BT for bank transfer number 1. Next bank transfer will be BT number 2, and so on. It's going straight out of the bank, so I'm going to put it in this column here. And I'm going to pay them £50. But this time, some of it was for badges, and some of it was for other trading resources. So I'm going to put £5 under badges and £45 under trading resources. Now, you might have noticed that I mistyped 45 there, and I only wrote 44. which is where this final column comes in handy again. Just like the income page, this is showing me that I've made a mistake. So if it's at the top here, that shows there's a mistake somewhere. You can scroll down, find the entry here, and that means my mistake is here in this line somewhere. So I can now look through and see, oh yes, that should be £45 under there, and I can correct it. And each time we put a line in, you'll see that these figures at the top have reduced again. The last thing that you might do on this page is use the CC column, and that's used for when we withdraw cash from the bank. It doesn't happen so often these days, but sometimes we do. So I'm going to put it in here. It's going to be the 10th of April now. I'm going to just put cash from bank because we're withdrawing the cash. We're not giving it to anybody. There's no payee. Okay, and then I'm going to just put in, if it was a check, if you're writing a check to cash and taking it into the bank, you could put the check number. But I'm just going to put withdrawal there because I'm going to use our debit card to withdraw the cash. And what we're going to do here is it's going to be on the bank column, £100. No, I don't have £100. Let's take out £50. But if we put a number 1 in this column, you'll see those totals at the top. So the bank figure came down by £50, but the cash figure went up. So that's what we're looking at there, where we're using the CC column. And we don't need to put it under category because we're not actually spending any money. This is just moving money within our accounts. So that's how our expenditure page works.